Okay, so let me start this session with a story. Okay, so in my first year, so this is our 3.5 year in the coaching business or whatever you call this, right? In my first year, so every year we speak about 300 advisors on average, whether it's Singapore, Malaysia, or whatnot. So, as first year, I was a noob, right? So I just hear advisors, they just tell me, oh, there's this prospect issue, there's sales issue, whatever it is, right? Then I'm like, okay, cool, then we solve the usual stuff. Then what happened was that as I go to second year and third year and I start to meet a lot more advisors, I realized one very interesting trend. I wouldn't even say a trend, I would say pattern. I realized, I noticed a pattern, right? And the pattern was, I love to ask everybody whether you have this observation, right? Which is, how many of your colleagues or people that you see in the industry, let's say more than 10 years, doing fairly well, let's say earning 8, 10K a month, MDRT every year kind, do roadshows? Like, is it a majority of them or is it a minority? Okay, how many of these group of people, right, 8, 10 years or more, earning 8, 10K a month, successful to a certain degree, also does a lot of cold call at that stage? Anyone? No. How about lead gen? Maybe a little bit here and there. Cool. Then you realize, you look at some of our colleagues and even ourselves, right? If we are less than 7, 8 years, the first few years, a lot of warm, cold call, roadshows, so on and so forth. Have you ever sat down and asked yourself, like, why the people that's more senior and relatively successful don't do the methods that the first few years do? And that was a question I asked myself. I realized, because I spoke to some advisors, there are some people who are COT, they came on a call, some of them are 25 years in the business. Right? Then I asked, and it's my job, obviously, to find out their business model, what's the problem, what's everything else, right? Because if I'm doing sales, then you need to find a problem, then a solution, correct? So I started to realize that. So we have all the data. So for every call we have typed it all in our CRM. So we literally, I got my VA, we collated all the data. And one of the things we realized, right, was that 8 to 10 years and above, earning decent money and everything else, most of their methods and the way they do their business and prospecting are mostly client servicing, networking, catching up with warm, and social media. Then I realized that for a lot of people, not everybody, correct, but like for majority of like the advisors when you first started, first few years, we are doing a lot of cold calls, roadshows, lead gen, and all their things. Now the point is, there are advisors that does these methods that are also successful, agree? MDRT, COT, so on and so forth. It was just very interesting to me that why the people that is above, like once you get a certain years in the business, they do not do that anymore. Now, let me ask everybody here a question. What do you think is the reason? Why? Or make a cause and effect explanation. Anyone? Just shout. What do you think people, right, from maybe, let's say, I'll call it new FC, okay? New means the first few years, right? When they move on to like more than like 8, 10 years in the business, plus, their business model change. What do you think that's the case? Client base, okay, good. So one of the reasons is client base. Basically, I'm right to say that they acquire a lot of prospects and clients at the beginning, and then now they have a clientele base, right? Okay, good. Any other reasons why? Positioning, okay, good. So maybe they're more experienced, they start to maybe attract, right, more than like chasing. Okay, so they have like experience and positioning, right? Okay, any other reasons why?
Time.
Sorry?
Time.
Time, what about time?
Time to nurture.
Time to nurture, okay, good. So it's time, huh? Now, we have advisors here that's more than a decade, right? Shall we ask them? Right, because, right, so let's say Banco, James, yeah, Mike, yeah. Let's say Banco, right? Banco. Yeah. We just ask Banco, and few people, then let's see how it is, okay, and okay? So let's say Banco, right? So, Ben, what's your main prospecting method? Like to basically to acquire cases,
New
clients, and production, yeah.
Social prospecting.
Social prospecting. So how does it look like?
Either I organize board games at my place or I go for events.
Okay.
When I go for events like snowboarding events and such.
Was it always the case when you first started?
No.
Let's say the first 5-6 years even. What were you doing in the first 5 to 6 years?
First 4 years, roadshows, door knock. My classmates in uni, my hallmates, yeah.
So what made the transition? Why don't you carry on with like all the cold roadshows and cold calls and everything else?
Tired,
Say again.
tiring.
No joke, Okay, so first reason, He said tired. It's tiring, right? Okay, great. Any other reasons?
And I want to enjoy the process. I want to enjoy the experience. So door knocking and roadshows are not.
So door knocking, roadshows not enjoyable.
Yeah.
Do you earn you money?
Yeah.
Not enjoyable earning money?
Not enjoyable. Yeah, not an enjoyable way to make money. To earn money, I mean. Yeah.
Earn money, right? Okay, cool. So, Elvina? You do warm all the way or you did cold?
Now,
like,
right?
Now it's warm or?
So in the beginning was all cold. Yeah, I didn't have warm clients at all. I
Right.
mean, cause I came back from Australia, so I didn't really keep up with my relationships in Singapore.
Yeah.
So I had to do cold. I was doing mostly door knock, cause like roadshows still need to pay
Door
money.
knocks. Okay.
Yeah.
So what made the transition to like warm, which you're doing now, and also obviously you acquire a client base, but what made you make the transition rather than continue to do things that actually earns you money?
I think for me it was like different phases in life. Because the reason why I did a lot of door knock was because no appointments, right? So I just kept filling up my days with like just going down to some HDB, knock doors and stuff like that. But then subsequently, when you start to have more and more clients, I didn't really have that time and momentum to continue to door knock, because like door knock you need that time and effort to actually put in. And then started to be a bit more bold in asking for referrals. Yeah.
Going for warm market, social catch up also requires time and effort. So what about the time and effort in warm social network clients that's easier or perceived to be easier compared to, let's say, roadshows, door knocks and cold calls?
You meant back then or now?
Like, because you said like
The
roadshows, all these also require time and effort,
Yeah.
right? Now whatever you do also require time and effort, correct?
Yeah.
So what's really the big change?
I think also like the confidence as well. Like, I mean, I came from a totally different background. I came from like a science background. So I think like for people, I mean, I still remember very clearly like my own family, my own best friends, they were like, how equipped can you be as a science graduate to advise me about my finances? And I came from a family of like business people. So to them it's like this Xiao Mei Mei trying to talk, like, you know, even though it's my kid, but like this small girl trying to talk to me about like finances, it just didn't make sense.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I just had to earn that respect in a way. Yeah.
Okay, good. Tian, quick one. You did warm all the way? Warm all the way, yeah? Okay, good. Did you get easier along the way? Yes. Got easier? Okay, cool. Joe also?
I did roadshow door knock at the start.
Okay, then now?
Now it's more warm, social prospecting. I still do lead gen, cold.
Yeah,
but,
you mentioned.
but less of that and more.
And less of the lead gen stuff, but
Yeah.
more of the social and everything else.
Yeah.
Are you guys hearing a trend and see the pattern here? How many of you, okay, don't need to be shy, don't need to be shameful, there's no judgment, okay, we all need to make business. Who here still did roadshow, especially for this year? Roadshows? Okay, cool. Cold call? Lead gen plus cold call. Like you call the leads one. Yes? Okay, great. Door knock allowed still? No? No, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's true, right? Like the observations and the data, the sample size here reflects as well. So this is what I want to talk about in the first 5-10 minutes, because what I realized was that at some point in time, so this is usually a trend, okay? So at some point in time, so let's say this is year 0, okay? And then let's say year 1, blah, 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 then this is year 5, and then this is year 10 onwards. Okay, what usually happens is this. The first 5 years, now this is obviously not everybody, right? It's majority of people. What happens is that the 0 to 5 years, right? A lot of times, what most advisors do is that they have a lot of prospecting methods. The prospecting methods that you do, I realize that a lot to do with the ones that we just talked about. Alright, cold call, roadshows, right? Lead gen, so on and so forth. Now, I would also say that for some of us who did warm when we first started, it was also more of maybe a project 100, or what I call more of a direct approach. Meaning you say, hey, I just want to see if I can get an opportunity to help you do a policy review. Like those very direct approach, that kind. So it's usually a lot of this. And here's the challenge that I realized, like there's a very huge correlation I realized when I put the data, which is when the first 5 years, if you do these methods, there's only going to be more or less 2 outcomes after about like these 5, 6, 7 years. Number one is you either struggling and not earning a lot of money, you either will quit or you carry on doing the same methods. More often than not, once someone who continue the same methods all the way until the 8th, 10th year, usually they will leave. I have advisors that I literally met and they're about like 12 years in the business. Make a guess how much FYC they earn a month. Make a guess. 12 years in the business. FYC. Don't talk about income. Because income relatively higher because it's recurring, right? But let's talk about FYC. Everyone make a guess. This person just did cold call. Then 12 years later still doing cold call. Make a guess what's the FYC. Sorry? 12K. Like a month? I think it was 1.8 or something. Yeah, it was 1.8K FYC to 2K. Now, this person can still survive because of the compounding effect of income and recurring. Alright? However, FYC wise, it's the same. Now, it wasn't so much about the income or the FYC, but it's more of the fact that when I spoke to him and a few other ladies as well, the advisors at this stage, right? There's only one word I can describe. Want to make a word? Want to make a guess what that word is? Sorry? Jaded? Jaded is one good word. That's a good word. Anyone else? Yeah. Check. It's that expression where it's not just so much about not having a good night sleep, that kind of tired. It's the kind that almost a little bit like depressed. Like every day you keep thinking you have to do the cold call, you have to do the road shows, and then the income is not as if you're earning 15K a month through cold calls at that age. And then remember, why I realized also when people are like that at that stage, right, is that they get very tired of 2 things. Number 1, they get tired of the fact that they have to do the same thing over and over again. Number 2 is that their energy actually decreases over time. Now, I'm like 29 this year, 1994. I don't know if some of the people that are older than me or more senior than me, right? What I realized, and a lot of my mentors as well, is that your energy and kind of like the capacity you have doesn't increase as you get older. It actually decreases. A simple example, 19 years old, clubbing, right? 3 a.m., club finish, go and eat supper at Jalan Kayu, at least for me lah, okay, I eat roti prata. Okay, so whatever it is, right? Then we had that, and then 8 a.m. got maybe go work part-time F&B, okay, let's go, no problem, correct? Then at night sleep a bit, then move on. Do you realize now, I mean, maybe some of you, by 12 o'clock you'll never sleep. By 12 o'clock you're like damn shag already. Then by the time, less than 7 hours of sleep now cannot make it. Who needs to at least 7 hours sleep one? Yeah? Okay, cool, right? Anything less than that you're like damn shag. Does it make sense? So you realize we are still the same person, just that the energy and the capacity and bandwidth changes. Right? It's not that we never take good care of our health. It's just a matter of, right, it's just a matter of wear and tear. Right? It's just a matter of wear and tear. Okay? So I want you to imagine this for yourself, which is, and I asked this question also, right, which is, just imagine like 10 years down the road, you are still doing cold call. How many of you would stay in the industry for 10 years doing cold call every single day, earning maybe 3K, 4K a month? No? But you'll get time flexibility. You'll get perks. No? Not worth it? And this is always the case. because your life phases also change. Maybe some of you become parents, right? So on and so forth, right? I have a couple of our community members who are mothers, and one of them, MDRT last year, earning pretty good money, is a mom of 2, but yet, and pretty good closer, and everything else can do, right? But yet, the only thing that was really making her very, very unhappy wasn't about, achieving more money or not being able to achieve more money, but it's really more like, just very sian, because she'll sit down, the phone is there, and then she'll procrastinate, right? Anyone got call reluctance? Yeah? Quick story, last time first time I had to experience cold call. Most of my managers said need to do cold call. So I sat down, right? The first call took me, I think, 2 hours before I made the first call, right? I was like, I need to practice the script more, so on and so forth, right? Then my manager looked at me 2 hours later and said, hey, 你打几个了? I'm like,还没有, I still practicing. Then he called me, then after that he made me just make the first call. Made the first call, I tell you, it was the most experience. It was so, to me, it was very, me, my young boy, very, very easily hurt. The first one, they cut me. Hello, this is Ben calling from AXA. No, not interested. Then slammed, it was slammed. He shouted at me and then slammed. I tell you, that was traumatic experience. Okay? But I need to give it a go. Because deep inside me, I'm like, okay, you know what, I need to make sure and see that, is this really something that maybe I can make it work? Right? Because one of the things that, especially when you first started the first few years, is always sustainability. Right? If warm runs out, then what's going to happen next? That makes sense? Anyone resonates? Yeah? Warm runs out. Some of you do warm, then what happens next? So I make a guess how many calls I did that day. Shout a number? 10? This one ego hurt even more. Wait, guess what else? What is that? 50? 500. I did 500 calls that day. It was just after I get a hang of it, and I can safely tell you guys, after that day I never did another cold call. Legit. I've never. But I'm still glad I did the 500 calls, because what happened was that then, because I did warm, when I get the money in, right, I literally hired telemarketers. I had 3 at one go at any point in time. So I had a system of how to hire, what's the pay rate, what's the incentivization, so on and so forth, how to track their numbers and everything else. Right? And then of course, again, while I didn't do the actual cold call, I went to learn about like Jordan Belfort's straight line, if you guys know about him, technique in terms of how to cold call, what's the tonality, so on and so forth. And then I teach the telemarketers, and then like that's how I get the appointments from the cold side. Okay? So my point here is, cold call. Because at the point, the reason why I stopped doing that, because I swore to myself, I hate it so much that I will never ever do it again. I can't see myself like 3 years in doing this every day. That makes sense? So that's why. Okay, now back to this graph. Now that you understand this, the point for everybody here, I realize, is that around the usually 5th or 6th year mark, then you will have a whole different set of methods. And some of you, maybe in your 6, 7, 8 years in the business, you have that change also. You start to think, okay, now I will do client servicing. Client servicing, like we mentioned, only got 3 things, correct? Cross-sell, upsell, referrals, right, and testimonials. But not enough. Because one of the things I always hear from advisors that keep going back to their clients, right? And they will say, my clients don't want to meet me, 挤干了, squeeze dry already. Right? Because you keep going back to sell, so on and so forth. Then they start asking themselves, okay, so what else? Now, of course, they can still do these methods because it still can generate them income, not an issue. But like I mentioned, sustainability of the business comes in 2 forms. Write this down. It comes in 2 forms. The first form is the method itself. Right? What I mean by that, you see, if you spend $1,000 in ads to get leads, you cannot do $10,000 a month in ads if you want more leads. It doesn't work that way. It's not linear. I spend a lot of money on ads, so I know it's not linear, right? So you cannot just like, okay, I spend 20K on ads, then I will get COT in 3 months versus 1 year. It doesn't work that way. So there's sustainability and limitation of that. The second form of sustainability that most people forget to see is your own capacity to carry on with this method. Right? So at the first few years, I always have advisors, and that was me back then in the past. Can one lah, 1 week, 20 appointments, let's go, right? And then call, never show up, F you, then move on. I'm like that kind, right? And then when I hear some advisors, they also do the same. At a younger age, they're like, correct or not, right? Now, for all my senior advisors, You all laugh at them, right? You'll wait. You'll wait. A few years later, you'll check, and then you'll start to slow down, which is the case because no one can really work at that intensity, right? So, people at this stage then ask themselves, okay, other than client servicing, which is not going to help me, really get to COT or whatever the amount is, then what's next? Then this is where your ALs or people start to tell you what's the next prospecting method when people talk about sustainability? Referrals, right? Then they say, hey, how about you ask for referrals? How many here ask for referrals? Good. How many of you would say that active referrals, meaning say you ask, get them to give you the contacts, that kind of process, is your main prospecting method? Jade, Derek, Zach, then the rest? Is it a how about the rest? Is it a casually ask then see whether they come maybe once in a while kind? Like this? Is it? Passive. So passive referrals, your clients nowhere text you kind. Have those kind of passive referrals? Have. So referrals there's both active and passive. When you are longer in the business and you do a good job, you will get passive referrals. Right? Whether it's on social media or whatever, you get passive referrals usually from clients. Problem is, while the closing ratio is usually high, because passive referral means usually can close, even though you can get one a month on average, and you can get passive referrals, the problem that even though it's consistent in terms of passive referrals you get, it might not be predictable. Meaning you say you do not know where that next passive referral is going to come in. When is it going to come in? And that's usually a problem, correct? Because we are always caring about, our expenses are the same. Our expenses are the same. Income is always variable, correct? And the income is variable depending on how many appointments, how many people you can close. Now, of course, your base income will increase when you have recurring, let's say your manager, your overriding, so on and so forth. That makes sense, right? But that's usually a problem. So referrals is also a question mark. Then people try to do active referrals. Then the main thing that I usually hear is this, man, I paiseh to ask. Anyone feel paiseh to ask for referrals? Don't be shy. Yes? Paiseh, Joy feel paiseh. Amanda, okay. Corinne, okay. Paiseh to ask for referrals, right? Or ask already and then you get objection. Already got advisor. Also very curious. How will you all handle if the person, your client say, my friends already got advisor? What do you say? Okay, second opinion. Who else also say second opinion? You give you second opinion one. Amanda, okay, cool. Anyone else? How you guys handle the objections? The objection of I already got advisor. Or you're just suck it up lah. Got advisor already, means no chance. Anyone? Yeah? Okay, cool. So I'll share about that later, okay? But let me just tell you guys, when your prospect or your client say that they already have advisor when they ask for referral, even better. It's a good thing that they have advisor. It's actually a good thing, okay? Which I will share about how to handle that, okay? But back to the point over here, client servicing, referrals. Then I think I saw some of your profiles and I think some of the things that you guys are doing also. The other question they will ask themselves is, maybe I should start doing social media, yeah? And then this is where they go from quote-unquote hunting to attracting. Make sense? So, at some point in time, people will make that switch. If you don't make that switch, you will not be able to last, even if you are earning relatively good income. But here's the thing, right? If your first 5 years you are earning 10K a month doing this, more often than not, I observe, even though they're earning good money from the cold call and everything else, they will not continue with this. Because they got money, they'll start doing this instead. Because this is never the methods that anyone would want to continue for a lifetime. Okay, now why am I sharing this observation? It's very simple. It's because 2 reasons. The first one is that depending on where you are at your stage of business, you need to understand that there will be transitions. Some might even be 2 years, some might be 3 years, so on and so forth, depending on when you take a transition, but there will always be a transition. Because sometimes, when you go to 5 years and then we feel very sian every day, sometimes it's not about the method anymore, correct? Because you know how to do. But it's like, I wake up, I don't feel like doing. Anyone got a feeling? Yeah? Then if you don't feel like working, even though you know how to work and what to do, you will not do it and you won't earn income. Then you find another job. Find business opportunities outside, right? That's usually how it is, right? So, first thing, understand that at some point in time in your career, you need to make a transition. Okay? And the second reason is because there's a more fundamental reason why people who are relatively more successful, even though they're more than 10 years, use this method. And even their advisors that are more than 10 years, if they continue using this method, they are not as successful. And the reason for this is very simple. This is the crux of this, okay? I want you guys to share with me what would your observations be, okay? So, these methods, tell me the commonality, okay? So, cold calls, you have RS, which is roadshows. You also have lead gen, right? And whatever other methods like. Okay, maybe door knock, okay, maybe door knock, which is not allowed now, but let's say door knock. Okay, on the right side. Okay, sorry, one more. It's actually warm but direct approach, right? We should just spam everybody, hey, can I have an opportunity, can I have an opportunity? Okay, now, second column over here. You have, number one, let's use this. Client servicing, so you go back to your clients, cross-sell, upsell, whatever it is, catch up. You have referrals that we mentioned just now. You have social media. I think Benko was saying social networking, social prospecting, right? Like talk to people, hang out, activities, and so forth. Social prospecting, SP. Okay, social media, referrals, client servicing, social prospecting. Okay, great. Now I want everybody to tell me what's the difference between this, all the methods here, and all the methods here. What's the difference? There are two differences. And once you understand this, it will give you clarity on why sometimes in the business as years goes by it gets more difficult rather than getting easier. What's common? All on the black side. Cold call, roadshows, lead gen, so on and so forth. Like what's common amongst these methods? Go straight to the point. Okay, cool. So direct, right? It could be direct. Okay, what else? Sorry? No relationship. Okay? Then do we, this one got relationship? Okay, cool. So this one, direct, no relationship. So the other way of it, maybe, would it be okay to say maybe it's more transactional? Like we talked about, yeah? Anything else that's common? Sorry? Need to be physically there. Yeah, okay, most of it, yeah. Except for lead gen, sometimes you can do Zoom, right? Especially COVID times. Any other guesses? Good. Those are good guesses. Very, very good. And in fact, one of them are time consuming. This one not time consuming? Sorry? Lesser time. Okay. So, this is like that one of the biggest revelation of this year when I reanalyze, right? Which is these methods. Just write this down. These methods are transactional. No space here. These methods are transactional. These methods, on the right hand side, I don't know if that's the right word for it, but just say it, okay? It's relational or relationship based lah. If that makes sense. It's relationship based, this is transactional. Now, does it mean that when you do this means you're a hard sell person? No, that's not what I'm saying. Does it mean that when you do cold call means all you care about is selling and you don't build relationship? No. We can also build relationship during first opening appointment. That makes sense? And try to do our best. But by and large, the methods, the nature of these methods are transactional. The nature of these methods are relational or relationship based. Okay? Now, next question that you have for myself and when I'm asking you is, so what? So what? So what if we know that these are transactional and these are, so what? What will you guys conclude? Or what will you guys have lessons carved out from this? These are true facts. 1,000 advisors from different countries. So what? Which one you like more? This one or left or right? Left or right? Right, eh? Left got earn money also, correct? Right also got earn money, eh? But we prefer right over left. And this is the reason why, folks. When I talk about transactional versus relational methods, you need to understand the consequences or the effects of this nature. What do I mean? Let me break it down. When things are transactional, the nature of things that are transactional, especially in the context of this industry when we prospect, is that your results are linear. Make sense? So you call 10, let's say you call 100, you meet 10, you You set 10 appointments, meet 5, then maybe you close 1, right? So obviously, if you want to have more closing, you obviously increase the numbers. Make sense? So it's more transactional. Problem here is that the moment you stop, then what happens? What happens? This thing stops. 5 years later, you stop doing it. And then you start doing it 1 month later because you took a break. Do we agree it's still the same numbers? Call 100, meet, set 10, meet 5, so on and so forth, yeah? Those who did roadshow 10 years ago and 10 years now, do we agree roadshow is still the same? Right? It's more or less the same stats. So, number 1, you need to understand it's linear. That's number 1. Number 2, which is a bigger problem, is that there will always be, I'll draw this line here. This is so crucial to understand. There will always be a limit or cap for you in your production. How many roadshows can you all, let's say you all do 1 roadshow a day, full day, for 30 days, earns you 20k FYC. Let's say you want to go higher, you want to hit 30k FYC. Then what can you guys do with roadshows? Do more roadshow, but full day already. You all want to do what, 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. There's a cap. Same with cold call. 20 appointments a week, 80 appointments a month, maybe can earn 20k FYC. You have to do 25k. What happens? You need to increase the number of appointments, correct? But can you increase the time that you have? Can anyone have 24 hours to, hey, God, Jesus, I want COT, can you increase 24 to 30 hours just for this 1 year? Cannot. That's why I say there's a cap. Remember I said sustainability comes in 2 forms. 1 is the method itself, 2nd is yourself. And yourself means there's time, energy, effort. That's why there will always be a cap. And this line will, depending on how quote unquote young or how much energy you have, is always the case. Okay? This one makes sense? Raise your hands if this makes sense to you. Yeah? Okay, good. So that's why it's linear. Now, if you look at the other one, there's relationship based, right? It will look like this. Exponential. Relationship based processing methods are usually exponential. What do I mean? Very simple. Remember referrals? The way how referral works is quadratic, right? It's like 1 referral, 2 to 4, 6, 8, so on and so forth. Assuming like it goes that way, right? But it goes that way if you do a good job. If you think about social media, let's assume for the next 1 year, you'll post 1 post a day every single day. Okay? Now, for social media, what's one of the key KPIs that you want to get from social media? Engagement, okay, what else? What's the main thing that all of us want, that we love it? Passive inquiries, correct? People DM you, say that, hey Jerry, can I, yada yada. We love that, correct? Because we know that most likely you're close, right? Or 100% are close. So, let's say you do 365 social media posts every day for 1 year. 1 month, 2 months, let's say the next year, for the first 3 months, you don't post anything at all. What's going to happen, right, is that these assets are still working for you. People are still going to see your post. People are still going to reach out to you. It's the same reason why passive referral from clients. After you build a relationship with a client, you don't talk to them every day, correct? But out of nowhere, they text you. You realize? So you realize that even though you're sleeping, your clients and these assets are still working for you. You all know the investment thing, can sleep, then your assets generate passive income, that kind of stuff. Relationship-based prospecting methods are assets, are skill sets that you want to create. That makes sense? Right? So this is the reason, this also accounts for the next reason, the next phenomenon, which is if you do relationship-based methods, your years in the business will get easier. Because of this element that everybody would know. Because of time. And when you do methods and relationship in nature and coupled with time, equal to what? Start with C. You all definitely know one. There will be what effect? There will be a compounding effect. Think about the last time when you have a better relationship with someone over the years, it's easier to work with the person, agree? Remember the first time you met your prospect, then it's like very cold, don't talk to you. After you build a relationship, become a client, hey, you free or not? Let's go for dinner, whatever it is. Sure, right? They say sure. Then you just, by the way, hey, you need to look at these ABC. Yeah, okay, cool, let's meet up and let's talk about it. Because with time, there's compounding effect. But the only reason why it compounds is when the methods are relationship in nature. That makes sense. Right? You think about social media, like every firm and all these things, when you have more followers and you keep posting consistently, you will get attention, people will start reaching out to you, even though he or she might not post for a while, we all know who this person is. Right? And we'll kind of like, hey, know this person and we'll reach out, yada yada. It's relationship in nature. That makes sense? So, is this helpful for you guys in terms of this? Yes, sir. So for, let's say, agency leaders or some of you amazing people here, just understand that when you look at an advisor's career and stages, right, you need to also understand like when should we change. And also help some of your advisors here, some of you all resist against doing roadshow cold calls or whatever. Not that your agency did wrong or right or anything, it's just depending on your preference. And at some point in time, depending on stage, you have to ask yourself, only you can answer. The advisors here, only you can answer yourself whether you want to make that change or not. If let's say your first 3 years you still can cold call 30K a month, whatever it is, do it. As long as it brings in the money, correct? But you come to a point in time where either you're too shared, there's a different stage of life, then maybe you need to start easing into these methods. That makes sense? Okay? So what I found is also that like the key advantage of this, right, of understanding this is this. If you do mainly, so people who do usually warm social media and referrals when they first started the business, relatively successful. Relatively. And even more successful over time. Right? Because it compounds. Now, I wouldn't say it's everybody because we have to talk about element of how they sell, how they close, correct? But generally speaking, that's usually the case. So the reason how I did my 200,000 in my first year, 22 years old starting, right? Warm. Then I did one day of cold call. Then actually I told you I hired telemarketers, right? This was I haven't finished the story. So I hired telemarketers, there were 3 of them. Right? You know why I got 3? Because at some point in time, 2 weeks later, 2 of them will leave. That's it. Anyone face this before? Right? The turnover rate is high, right? Then what happens next? Go Facebook group. Right? I put the rate, yada yada, so on and so forth. So that usually happens. So what happened was that was the first reason why I had 3 telemarketers. But after that, I removed the cold calling portion, even if I hire people, for 2 reasons, right? Number one, it's very tiring to keep doing the recruitment of these people because you need to onboard them, you need to teach them, you need to train them how to do the call. That's number one. Number 2 was because when I was a student, I didn't have much time, right, to really do prospecting and everything else. And what's more important is that when a prospect, my telemarketer will set an appointment. Problem is, I got school on that day. And everybody knows when you reschedule with a prospect that you have never met before, chances are they're not going to show up, okay? So it becomes a lot of these problems, and then what happened was that I just screw it. I just went straight to warm, then social media, then I start moving up to the referrals. And this is the reason why a lot of people ask me like, hey Ben, don't you struggle? I actually do struggle with all the rejection and everything else. It's just that over time, it wasn't as difficult as I think it would be. Right? And I started to realize that, it was because I have all these methods. Right? Second year, my first year when I do social media, and trust me, there wasn't any structure or templates. It was literally just like post story, right? Post story, post story, post story. My first year, I think it was about like 8K FYC came from there. Like those passive ones, it came from there. Like, and then when I do active talk to people on social media and so on and so forth, that was like my main prospecting method. So that like account for like 60-70% of my production. Second year, 115 or 112,000 in income, so FYC plus bonus at the point in time, for the entire year came from social media, passive. I didn't do anything. And the reason why I say this was powerful, because second year, I was moving up to management, so my first 6 months, I had 10 people under me already, right? Then I promote up. Then because, my philosophy for me was like, if I want to move up to management, and it was a plan right from day one, which was, first year, chiong sales. The 6 months after that, no sales, pure recruitment, pure training. Then the second half of the second year, pure training to prep the guys and the team. So obviously I have to let go some of sales, right? Which is why first year I whacked a lot. Because that my career path was very straight for me. Then the 100K plus, right, came in the second half of the year. So second half of the year when I was doing a lot of training, and some of you agency leaders will understand this, sometimes the overriding isn't as much, and stuff like that. And what happened was that literally when my Instagram stories, they literally got me 100K plus worth of income from that in the next 6 months, the second half of the year. Yeah. So, point of this story, if you can move towards relationship-based prospecting, you will find that the years in the business will get easier. And who wants that? Yeah? Exactly. So, I will also share with you downsides of this method, okay, which is this. Now, everybody, let's say you hear this, then you walk out today, okay, Ben say relationship method works, is better, blah, blah, I will do it right now. Hold your horses and calm your tits, okay? First, understand this, relationship based, if you remember this graph over here, it takes time. You cannot just do one post and say I should receive one passive inquiry. It doesn't work that way. Okay, it takes time. Which means to say there is a trade-off that you all need to understand, which is that you might not get that award, you might not get like that 10, 15K a month immediately, or even the next 3 to 5 months, depending on how good you are. So what I would suggest, right, if you guys, there's two groups, right? If you are doing pure linear transactional methods and you want to move towards relationship, slowly do it. Slowly, okay? Let's say you are doing cold call every day. That's your main method. Cold call, sales, done. Earning 10K a month. Then you spend you spend 20% of your time now. Maybe you find one channel, social media. I'm only going to do social media. Right? Then, over time, as you start realize that this is working out, then you reduce the reliance on the first transactional method. It's the same reason why, like let's say Axis or some of our more senior advisors here, transaction method, cold call, roadshows, everything else, right? Then number of clients go up. You realize can earn money and cross-sell, upsell from client servicing. Then you start reducing the methods on cold call and roadshows. Can you see? Right? So it's not an instant, screw this, I'll tell my manager tomorrow, hey boss, you made me cold call, I'm going to quit the agency. Like, it's not going to work out that way, okay? Because it's a steep thing, like there's a shortcut. The energy here is very simple. You know those gurus online, you all see YouTube advertisement or whatever, they say, work 9 to 5, then 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. work on your side hustle, right? Earn enough until your business money or passive income more than your active income. Same idea. 了解? Okay? Now, in fact, it was quite funny. Actually, I came up with the term, you all know it's called rat race, right? You know the rat race means you keep working, right? Yeah. If you continue doing the linear transactional stuff, right? It's what I call the advisor's rat race. Because you have to keep doing it, you cannot stop. The moment you stop, your income will get a hit. That makes sense? Now, of course, it's not as bad as like corporate workers or whatever. It's because the recurring and everything else stacks up. So I want you guys to see one of the things that I'll share with, that I realized also that I shared with a few of our clients, which is this, okay? You must see this industry, and I know I heard this from Sanjay. He said that this industry is beautiful, it's a beautiful industry. If you guys will hear him say before. At the point in time when I was 22, I didn't understand what he was saying. Beautiful, every day get rejected. You know, all that stuff. Then last time I wear suit, Singapore very hot. How is it beautiful? Right? You go for R&R, ethics, you know, put the MCQ, everything else. How is it beautiful, right? So I couldn't really understand until I realized that it's beautiful because the entire model of how the agency and the industry works is one that is supposed to be compounding, they're supposed to compound in nature by default. You think about, just now the methods I've talked about, correct? Relational versus transactional. But if you think about how your compensation is being structured, do we agree it's also compounding? Now, of course, if you every year just sell single premium, then you talk to the manager, okay? So you get my point, okay? So there's your RIC, your recurring on the first year, second year, until fifth, sixth year. Then there's your A&H one, right? Which is usually perpetual. And then, in fact, think about it, it's beautiful, okay? Especially when you do A&H, even though the comms is the constant in terms of percentage, what isn't? Exactly. It goes up again. Does it make sense? I give you guys another factor of compounding. As we grow, let's say we start. Who here was started in industry as 21 years old? You know, very young? Yeah, Ash? Okay, great. Do you agree our friends are freaking broke? Or they tell you, I got no money. Or they say, hey, my parents handle my policy, I'm not interested. Correct? Yeah, I tell you, they were so pissed off when I first started with my friends. Not that I blame them, but you know, it's like cheesecake, you know or not? Right? Yeah, I want to sit you now, educate you. No. Yeah, so that was that. So, age. Do you agree for those who are student advisors, and then now as you get older, you realize that the premiums you close, by default, even you don't attempt to close big case, it just kind of like get higher? Because why? More people have liabilities, more people have commitments, they have more kids, yada, they would need more. Goes up again. Can you guys see? That's why I say this is a beautiful industry. If you all can see it this way. A lot of people is like, I want to earn my first pot of gold, then get out of this industry and then start business. Nothing wrong. But one thing I realized when I moved from insurance industry to doing this right now is that restarting, right? Restarting is the worst thing you can do in business. Restarting is the worst thing you can do in business. Sure, I know about insurance and all that stuff I did before, but I had to restart from scratch, like a noob. Learn how to do advertisement. It was very tough. I spent so much money and everything else to learn how to do all these things. And it took me years for this to build up again. That makes sense? So, you know why? Because when I restart, I lose the compounding effect. And yes, there are certain things that can carry forward to this right now with whatever I'm doing. But generally speaking, if I stay there continuously, then I will have more money, right? Compounder, yada yada, so on and so forth. That makes sense? Who agree? Who can see that now it's actually a more beautiful industry? If you guys really stay in this, yeah? If you go up to management, then you have overriding, correct or not? They have more team, and then guess what? If you all play the spin-off game, which is director, promote another manager up to director, you get to buyout, payout, whatever it is. Some might go game model, yada yada. Ta-da! Yes? So, the reason why I'm sharing this is also because sometimes we get jaded, we cannot see the money, we feel like we need to take very long, blah blah blah. But just remember that it compounds. So, one of the things you guys want to write down is just be patient. Be patient. It will come. Uncle Warren, you know who is Uncle Warren? Right? Uncle Warren, Warren Buffett. You all know, you all see the infographic, what his net worth only became what after, don't know, what, 50, 60 years old, something like that? He waited. Now, I'm not saying everybody need to wait until 90 years old and then be a multi-billionaire, right? I'm saying is that do your linear transaction methods as you should, because everybody needs to pay the bills, agree? One of the reasons why people are resistant against social media, right, is because it doesn't earn them money at the beginning and they need the money. And remember what Melvin said yesterday? If we work because we need the money, that's the worst way to work. That makes sense? Worst way to close a sale either. So, it's beautiful. And you all can see this. And think about it. Another thing that compounds is what? Assuming, what's another thing that compounds? As you get older, your skills get better. Your knowledge is more intensive. Maybe first year never learn a lot, then maybe 8th year start doing CFP, CHFC, estate planning, so on and so forth. Yeah? All these compounds. And when you add these, all the compounding vehicles together, how are you not going to earn money? That makes sense? Right? So I think there are some of our advisors here that maybe less than 4 or 5 years, so on and so forth, cannot really see the light. But I would encourage you to speak to some of the advisors here who are more senior or maybe longer in the industry. You realize it's a very beautiful one. Okay? Now, this, I just want to mention, this is what? This is the industry's nature of compounding. I haven't talked about what? Once we have this amount of money, then what can we do? Invest outside, right? In other stocks, assets. Then that's another vehicle for compounding. Then what you're doing here in this industry, right, is to build your wealth, quote unquote. I argue, even talk about like businesses like mine, I argue that if you're FA and you're just running your sales and everything else, I would say it's a relatively, if you do it consistently, it's a better and faster way to reach quote unquote financial freedom. Okay? That makes sense? Right? Because whatever that you earn is take home. Pure take home, right? Yeah? So, if you guys can really share this with your own team as well and help them to understand this, especially when they first come in, you will allow them to see that, okay, this is something that is beautiful, this is something that I want to do for long. Because sometimes when we first come in, what do you do? Fast money, agree? Alright, what's the first pot of gold? Right? But after the first pot of gold stops, question mark, struggle, it goes down, decline. And ta-da! Cool? Helpful this one? This one, 3.5 years of work, including, if you plus me being an FA about 7 years, and then 1,000 advisors, then I realized that this is the reason why. Okay, I hope this is helpful for you guys, yeah? Yeah, nah? Okay, cool. So, if you guys want to know like, okay, exactly how you should transit, so on and so forth, then yeah, we can have a chat during lunch, okay? But, I just want you guys to understand, and you walk out today at the end of day 2, feeling inspired, feeling beautiful, feeling knowing that like, this is going to be an amazing industry. It is. Right? And don't forget about the fact that when we talk about yesterday's morning, the concept about value first, other than value first that allows us to earn more money, right? We get the intangibles, which I truly think that a lot of us actually want, is appreciation for our work that we do. They'll say, hey, thank you so much. And sometimes I argue there are some advisors that I met, they might not close a sale, but they feel damn happy because the prospect say, hey, I really trust you a lot. Thank you so much. I'll buy from you in the future, but not now. But I appreciate your effort. Who here have that before and feel good? Yeah, exactly. So when you think about all these things, you value first, you earn money, you get appreciated. Now again, not everybody will appreciate you, agree? But some will appreciate you, and then it compounds over time. If you just keep the consistent path and keep doing what you're doing, I argue that if you all do whatever you guys do in the next 10 years, right, everybody here is a millionaire. Minimally. Does it occur to you guys, if you all do what you all do, even if you earn 30k a year, 40k next year, 50k, 60k the next year, so on and so forth, you will, at some point in time, 10, 15 years later, you will become a millionaire or more. It's inevitable. Banco, it's inevitable, right? Okay? Unless you stop. Unless you leave the game, unless you get out. Then you start over again. Like I had to. That makes sense? Okay? So, questions? I'll just like any couple of questions. You can pass the mic or anything. Then, any more questions about this? Because this is like the most crucial thing. So how? I think. But okay, yes? Okay, cool. So that's for the first one. Okay, we'll get the team to paste it up later. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, I would like to. Is it okay for the rest of you? I'll take a short, maybe 2 minutes to talk about recruitment and team stuff. Is it okay? Can for the ALs, right? So, how to bring that into context is very simple, right? When you build a team, there is also a linear / exponential or compounding effect. So when you talk about linear or what we call transactional, correct? Is that, okay, you get people in, from your own standpoint, obviously you want everybody successful, agree? That's what you want. But what happens is that sometimes when we first started as an AL or whatever, we go for volume. Right? Get everybody in because we believe in everybody, we believe everybody can succeed. Then what happens is that people start to fall off. Correct? Then your main focus, if you are doing linear, if you are doing linear, that's wrong. It's actually quite good. If you are doing linear and transactional, is that you don't really care about these people that's not performing. You care about the people of bringing new people that can perform. So meaning to say, right, you don't care about whether they stay or not. You only care about bringing more people. That's the linear way of doing things, which might have to be done at the beginning. I don't know if your AL told you this. At the beginning, you just need to recruit as many people first, then you figure out, yeah? Linear, right? So, you're laughing, So, next. So what is compounding? Very simple. And that's why it's hard, because it takes time, and a lot of effort and sacrifice. Culture. And culture is defined as a set of behavior that people execute in an organization. Right? There's no wrong or right culture, right? This also means you need what? All the usual stuff, right? Core values. Then the question is core values. Use the AL's core value, use the agency's core value, use your team's core value. Which core values to use? Because your core values might not be the same as your agency's core value. And then when you're trying to recruit, right? Then you think to yourself, should I use let's say Advisors Click's core value? Or should I use my own personal core value that I feel like is a better attraction? Question mark. Core values. Then all your mission and vision also different. And this is also the reason why in management, because of all these things, there will be conflicts. Managers versus director. The one going up got conflict with the director. Always 100% all the time in any agency. The only difference is to what degree or how severe that conflict is and whether can you reconcile it. Right? So you have a director that says these are core values, and then you have managers that, you know what, I agree, I don't want to be a director, I just want to have my own team, and then like we all these do things like a one family. You get a beautiful one. You have a director that says they want to pro-growth and grow, and then when these managers want to have their own core values, build their own team, problem is the people at the top cannot let go. Because it's a power control. Because when the people move out, you feel like, hey, you're losing people, you feel like people are against you, so on and so forth. Because of all this, that's why it's hard. But if you can do this properly, or like consistently, you'll compound. You get a lot of attraction, you get a lot of people trying to join. That makes sense? Okay, and when you have good culture, your own team will also want to refer people in. Make sense? But it's hard. It is hard. So, if you are AL right now, if you need to, you do this. If you don't need, you do this. Right? And this is also the reason why, depending on where your agency, culture, organization like, some of you might want to provide the management, right? Which is this. In some agencies, the larger ones, what they encourage is this. Do culture, but then culture take very long to build, correct? So where the money is to come from? Then do sales. So let's say in G, let's say AC, right? You still got to do your own sales, but then you build a team, but then it's more of a culture, high performing, so on and so forth. But it takes time. The other people, my route, the way I did it was culture not yet. I do everything here. Not so much a culture at the start. Why? Because I need to earn money also, right? So I need more people. Then at some point in time, I probably have to move to there. Because this is not, again, sustainable. Because 10 years later, remember, you just imagine 10 years later, or 15, 20 years later, you're still trying to recruit. But then like, you recruit 10, then 8 leave. Then every time the earnings is like the first 2 years that they are with you, then they leave. Then as an AL, you got no compounding effect also. That makes sense? Okay, so for the managers and directors, yeah? Okay, so take your pick. If you are doing this, you do this. Then slowly move out of the culture. If you are doing culture and you need money, then you do sales. Yeah, or you hardcore, then you do this and this at the same time. But that means you need to usually have some form of reserves or some kind of recurring that can even sustain you. Agree? Because we also have our own expenses. Yeah? Okay. Can? Can, Okay, cool. So, what time is it? Okay, 10, 11. Now, okay, we have about 15, 20 minutes and then we go for our AM break. Cool? Claire, you hungry already? No? No, I know you're allergic to alcohol. So, okay, so that's that. Now, so this is, the first part over here is business model. The second part I'm going to talk about and share with you guys that I'm just picking up because we don't have enough time, so I'll pick up the more valuable, important lessons, okay? Okay, cool. So, anyone has a, okay, raise your hands if you have a degree. Okay, raise your hands if you have a master's. Master's is business admin, MBA, whatever. No? Okay, great. So, and concise, yeah, I went uni, I dropped out, right? So my highest qualification A levels, okay? Here's MBA in 4 lessons, right? MBA crash course. Now, I know advisory, we don't give a shit about MBA, right? But it's going to be applicable to our context in industry, okay? So, let's talk about wealth as the metric for success. And I define wealth as basically more money, okay? Let's talk about assume for this conversation. Now, in order for that to happen, there are 4 levels to any business. Whether is it my business, other business, MNCs, our own advisory business, management, right? There's 4 levels. There are 4 resources, I would argue, 4 resources that you can use to really go up the ranks and be more successful, right? Starting from the lowest leveraged, make a guess, what is it? Lowest leverage skill set or lowest leverage factor that allows us in having to earn money. Sorry? Intelligence? Warm? What do we need to do to earn money? Okay, yes, give value, okay? Don't give me the give value thing, okay? I know give value. What do we need to provide? Sell, okay? And that requires what? Sorry? Labor, correct. Lowest leverage is labor. Now, as usual, we always use this example, right? Which is, let's say, if you are a young boy, young lady, or whatever it is, working at McDonald's, you're giving your labor, time, and effort. Agree? But there's only so much you can earn. Make sense? Good. Then my next question is, how do people who just work a part-time job? Anyone work part-time job before? Yeah? Ice cream shop. Anyone work ice cream shop? Which ice cream shop? Very old one. Oh. You see, those that are the people that older one. So, that's good. Cold Rock. Oh. I do others. You know others? No, I mean, not others. The others ice cream. Yeah. Scoop until my right forearm is bigger than my left. Right? Because it's like really, really. Hey, it's because of the ice cream, okay? It's not because of other reasons, right? Okay, so that's that. So yeah. So you know when you work part-time, how much were you paid back then? An hour? Wow, $8 is good eh. You know how much others? It's a recording. Never mind. You know how much others pay me or not? Six, okay? $6. Oh my god! And I still need to handle the freaking waffle. You know, need to make the waffle. For some reason, you ever been to ice cream? Have you ever been to ice cream shops? Then they all make waffle. Either the waffle is damn bloody good or it's fucked up one. Yeah. Then you think to yourself, why? The recipe is already there. You scoop, put in, then you just clamp down the thing. Open up, wait for timer, right? Then take out, right? Why still fucked up? You know, until today I still don't know why. Even though I was doing it, it's like for some reason I open a thing. You're supposed to spray some butter spray or something like right, oil grease the thing. Then you take like one scoop, put in the middle, then let the liquid flow out. Put another one, put here. Then all you need to do is to cover, beep. Then you just wait. Then okay, then you open up right. By right, all you need to do is then get the waffles, go to ice cream, gao dim. No, for some goddamn reason, if you make 10 waffles, 4 of them will fuck it up. And the weird thing is this, you know, some will be overcooked, some will be undercooked. They think to themselves, the timing remains the same one. What is it? Until then I got no idea. Okay, so I went to cream. So I stay at Punggol, right? So North Shore had a creamier waffle. You know, I went there 7 times. 4 of them fuck it up for me. Okay, so I have no idea. Okay, so but then at first I was angry. Then I think to myself, yeah, actually last time I made waffle also like that. So it's something to do with the machine now. Okay, so if you guys go for ice cream shop, just forgive these people. Okay, okay, so okay, yeah, so that was me. Others boy. Okay, then you wear the freaking apron. Then all the girls. Usually others a lot of girls, right? Like ice cream shop a lot of girls. That was the guy. Then everybody look at me like either I'm gay, or I go there Hong Chabo. Yeah, either one of them. Okay, everybody look at me like that. Oh, then I think the manager at the point in time was like a butch with very short hair, everything else. I tell you, she hated me. Because I was like talking to the girls, right? And then I tell you, she make, you all can sign up for shift one, right? Fill in your shift work. Yeah, she changed my shift away from the people that's, you know, prettier. Oh my god. Yeah. So and then one day my colleague texted me. Hey, I need to tell you something. I say what? Yeah, I heard the name is called Jack. Okay, her name is called Jack. Jack, I think Jack is about to fire you. And I'm like, for what? You know lah, because you know she just don't like you or whatever it is. What I tell you was, first thing I was shocked. You know, that time I was like 18 years old or something like that. Then I was shocked. Second I was like, 他妈的. Then that same day I resigned. Right? Keep the dignity, right? I don't get you fire me from an and you pay me $6, you know how loud quit that is, so right? Then I cannot put a resume, right? Not. So like get out first. Okay. So anyways, labor. And that was also a lesson that taught me that labor wasn't enough for us to make a good living. So what's needed? Say again? Alright, so now of course there's skill sets, all that stuff, but I just plainly for easier sake, I just put as knowledge. Right? So, you know, in the internet economy, in this generation, they talk about the knowledge worker. Right? What does it mean? We still put in labor, but with the amount of knowledge that we learn, train, and then we can transfer all these knowledge, skills, and everything else, we have a higher output because we are more valuable. Yeah? Make sense? Okay? So, labor, knowledge. What's next? It only goes higher in terms of leverage. And these two would largely also explain why people are so filthy rich. What's 3? So someone, you know, let's say you work at McDonald's, now someone go to office, and this is the reason why you go university, right? University increase knowledge, ma. Agree? Which honestly, in my opinion, is unless you want, like what Melvin said, you want to be doctor, whatever, it's not worth the ROI, right? You pay 30K so that you get into debt, and then like you try to earn 3K a month, and you might not even get a job, right? So, but what happens? Let's say you guys are working, you have knowledge, which you guys are knowledge workers, and then what happens next? What's the next level? Specialization? Good. I would say it's maybe the higher tier of the knowledge one, which is good. Not yet. Before network. How did Uncle Warren get rich? Hey, you're scaring me. This room, financial advisor, what did he use? Money. Write this down. Money. When you have no money and no knowledge, you need to work as a McDonald's lady, guy or guy. When you have more knowledge, you earn more money. But this still not going to get you to the wealth that you guys want. Money is a higher leverage. When you invest money, it compounds by itself, agree? When you have more money, you can invest in your own business, agree? When you have more money, you can use money to increase in knowledge. Yes? When you have more money, you can hire your PA. Yes? Leverage. For the, those companies out there, hire labor, invest in brand, invest in other things. Bigger ROI. Money speeds things up. What's the last one? Brenda? Good. The last one, ladies and gentlemen. The highest is your network. In other ways, you can call it relationships, whatever it is, and so forth. Highest leverage. Why? Very simple. You think about it, huh? Let's use, yesterday, I invited Melvin over here, right? Let's use that as an example. If I don't have a good relationship or network with him, my network, which I didn't at the point in time, so what did I have to do? I had to pay money. Remember I said I had to invest and pay money. After I invest and pay money, I create a good relationship and form a relationship with him. When he came in, I don't have to pay him. And I don't need to do we agree sometimes you want to give someone money, they might not even take your offer? They might not even accept, they say no time, whatever it is, yes? So money might not get everything, but network can get you all of the other things. So last year when I was one of the community events that we had, right, was I invited one of my friends over, like even today, right? Network. If not, he would charge you money, number one. Or if not, some people, right, like Melvin, if you say, hey Mel, can I have 2 hours of your time and pay you maybe $3,000, he wouldn't take it. He doesn't take it. So you can't get money, you need a network. Right? And maybe you want to pay him more money and everything else which might be attractive, but maybe you need me to go and talk to him and say, hey, Mel, I recommend this person, I really think you should do it, but you consider, yada yada. And then you get it. Highest form of leverage. That makes sense? Now, caveat. I just want to make a caveat for everything I say, because what happens is I realize is that once I say this, right, next moment, everybody only do network. Anybody network, I'll drink coffee, all the advisors, all the ALs, whatever it is. It doesn't work that way, okay? Why? Which brings to the next lesson. Okay, make a guess what is this drawing? I know you guys got a hard time guessing my drawing. I try to make it very nice actually. So, ladder, good. Hey, why you laugh? My ladder don't sound ladder, man. Give the leg, okay? Hey, last time I take TNT on, okay. 3D enough, still look like cupboard lah. But anyway, anyways, okay. So anyways, staircase, okay, staircase, stages, okay, whatever it is. Now, anyways, what is okay, whatever, okay, so now there are levels. You understand? Life, right? There are levels. Business, there are stages, right? So there's level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. There's like white belt, blue belt, yellow belt, black belt, red belt, right? Now, first thing to understand this, and for some of the advisors that maybe the most junior or maybe you're embarking, you're a senior advisor embarking on something new, understand this, okay? If you are at level 1, you should do what? You should do level 1 activities. If you are level 2, you do level 2 activities. A lot of people, level 1, want to do level 5 activities. Very simple example. We all know Warren Buffett gets rich by investing money, agree? And then he advocates everybody to invest, which he basically got rich at level 5. Let's say it's the highest tier. And then because of that, guess what happens? We all get the preconceived notion of, I earn money straight away, must go and invest in the stock market, correct? I earn 10K this month, I take 5K, put in the stock market. Then you get burned because you need to pay tuition fee when you first invest. right? Wrong. When you're level 1, the key thing you need to do is to invest in your knowledge, invest in your skill sets, because that's the greatest, highest ROI that you can ever have for yourself. The moment, do you agree? The moment you learn one more way to prospect, do you agree that within the next 3 weeks you can get one more appointment, two more appointment, and then you can end up in the closing? Yes? You get the ROI immediately within the month. Everybody say, oh, but Amazon, Apple go up by 10x, 20x, whatever it is, right? Over what time horizon? That's the question. That make sense? So, level 1, if you are level 1, you do level 1. If you are white belt or yellow belt, you do yellow belt activities. You don't try to do black belt ones. But you slowly move up. That make sense? Okay? So, this is the reason why, back to the linear versus relational one, I said that sometimes social media and stuff like that, which takes a bit of time, might be more of a level 3, level 2 thing. Right? You might still need to do your training, do your cold calls, do your roadshows, do your warm prospecting. That makes sense? Okay? So, why am I saying this? Because, going back to this, right? We are no longer just working at label. Agree? We are no longer. So, we are in the knowledge space. So, the first thing you want to do is to exploit or kind of like squeeze dry your knowledge and skill sets to go and sell other people, impact their lives, earn money. And then, depending on where you are, which has some nuances, I would suggest that at this current point in time, still funnel back to the knowledge or the label factor. So once you earn money, put it back here. Once you earn money, put it back here. That makes sense? Right? So until a point in time, maybe you're relatively comfortable and stuff like that, then maybe we can talk about networking. That makes sense? Because the truth of networking, everybody, is the same thing I mentioned yesterday. I want to prospect high net worth, but high net worth want you or not. Right? A good relationship or someone who wants to network with you is when they find that you are someone of value. That you can provide value to the person. Don't believe me, you'll go next door. Correct? BNI, you need some form of value, yeah? Wealth accumulation, whatever it is, so on and so forth, but some form of value. But people know, so you can network a lot, but if you can't provide value, you know what people look at you as? Social butterfly. Right? Go and talk to people and then like, then done. No value. Because maybe you do that, you didn't even earn the money. Right? So the first thing I realized, right, is this. For you to become a valuable person, not for you to become a valuable person. For people to perceive you as a valuable person, they can't look at your inner thoughts, right? They don't know that you wake up at 5 a.m. every day, right? But they can know whether you have money or not. Whether you're able to make money or earn money. Because your money ability is status. Agree? That's why in this industry, we talk about cars, Rolexes, etc., etc. We talk about achievements. Even with every achievement, MDRT, COT, IDA, right, Centurion, you know, so on and so forth, has a numerical number pegged to it. Agree? Top case count also numerical number. Agree? That leads to what? Money. Who here got the most value-driven advisor award before? No? Your agency, no? Hey, team, I think we can do it. Most value-driven. Oh, yeah. Don't. Do it. So there's one thing I want to share with you guys, okay? In our community, we always say that the more progress wins you share, let's say you talk to someone new today, there's a progress, we should share that, celebrate that win. The more progress wins you make, the more progress you share, the more results wins you'll get. Right? It's proven. Okay? Now, even as agency, we also kind of know that, right? When's the last time you have an award for most progress wins shared? 0. You know why? Because there's no money to it. Progress ma, right? Not close case ma. Same thing, you look at all the insurance companies. President Clark, correct? In Prudential, right? All the top awards, so on and so forth. Then once in a while, you have a most ethic advisor or something like that, some award, right? But other than that, you realize there's never a top number of appointments generated in a month. Does Prudential celebrate that? Anyone? All the Pru folks? No, right? Top number of leads, highest number of leads gotten in a month. No one gives a shit. Most number of opening appointment in a month. Anyone celebrate that? Any company celebrate that? No. What do you celebrate? They celebrate the end result. Case count, right? You know, FYC cases, so on and so forth. So, my point is, work at your levels. We are no longer at level 1. No longer at level 1. You need to be at level 2. We are at level 2, then we'll be earning level 3. Level 3, reinvest back in again. get more money, tada, we have network. Agree? Can? Ladies and gentlemen, this is MBA lesson to business. Okay, just work at your levels. Cool? What happens? Remember, I was the others ice cream boy, right? Then after that, went to advisory, so knowledge. Then I started earning a lot more money. Then I have money to invest in myself again, correct? Then when I invest in myself and I start to build network slowly, I have better relationships, good relationship with people that I know, that I help as well. Gets higher. And the best thing is when you have a lot of network, it's very simple. You say, hey, can you help me with this or not? No, let's say I have a few other friends, right? I say, hey, can I do a sharing with your guys or whatever it is? Maybe I can help them, maybe some of them will join me or whatever. It's cross-pollinate kind of thing, right? And because we help each other, sure bro, when? I do it for you, let's go. Like that. Right? I don't have to pay him money, pay her money, so on and so forth. It gets it instant. And then it helps you earn more money, and so on and so forth. But work at your levels. Can? Cool? Cool, huh? Okay, great. So, last short lesson, and then we'll go for our AM break, which is about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, okay? Useful so far? Yeah? Okay? So I know because there's a huge crowd of range of young advisors to more senior ones, okay? Now, okay, this one, important. I'll share this slightly more personal story, which is, when I first started as an advisor, right, we have to prospect, correct, reach out to people, reach out to warm, so on and so forth. And one of the things that I felt a lot of resistance, other than of course taking, right, you talk about giving versus taking, right, prospecting. One of the bigger resistance was I was very afraid of judgment, super afraid. I don't know if you guys resonate with this, but when I first few months I joined, when people ask me what am I doing now, my worst answer was, oh, nothing lah, just studying or whatever it is. So I hide it. My better answer was, oh, I'm doing internship. Even though by the time I already kind of quote unquote a real full time, right? I do internship. Yeah, help them and so on and so forth. Because I wasn't proud, right? I don't want all the judgment, so on and so forth. Now, that was the beginning. Now, of course, as I got better, I started to what? I started to earn more money, reach more people, so on and so forth, right? And in fact, you come to a point, which you guys have experienced, your prospects start to come to you, right? A few of them, and then you help them do things. And then it's get higher and higher. I kind of feel like, hey, there are certain prospects that cases a bit small. Case a bit small. Sometimes I feel like, I still need to follow up this person. Don't reply me. Screw this person. Move on. Right? Not worth my time. That was the attitude. Now, in both cases, what was the one common behavior? If you can point it out, literally I will give you great voucher sounds lame. I'll give you something else. Okay, but what's the common factor? Yes? Pride? And I work for pride. I want you guys to write this down, okay? I leave the other one first, but write down the word ego. Realize that when I first started to maybe a more successful advisor or person, when I had ego, both deterred me from doing better, becoming a better person, earning more money. Right? At the beginning, I don't be judged. I don't dare to tell people, so on and so forth. As some of us, we have achieved more money, so on and so forth. It becomes you don't want you fuck off. Right? It becomes forget it move on. Or sometimes the prospect give you problem, and then you still need to follow up this prospect one. And then you think to yourself, 10 years already as an advisor, I still need to follow up. Basket, people should come and find me. You know what I mean? You have that kind of ego, that also deters you. Sometimes even as a leader or whatever it is, sometimes you might feel like, shit, I know the shit I'm doing, I'm bloody good. You don't listen, then you're fucking problem. Right? Now, I'm not saying that if there are bad performers or bad clients, I'm not saying that we should keep the relationship. I'm saying that you be aware of the mindset. Right? So, think about this, right? This is something I share in our community. I don't know to share with you guys, okay? So, like I mentioned, I spoke to almost 1,000 advisors. When I say that, what it means is 1-on-1, 60 minutes or more call, asking about business, so on and so forth. That obviously is my way of doing sales, correct? Until today, I still get rejected. And then when there was this period of time, I had some form of ego. Because the advisor would tell me, freaking 6 months old, at that point in time, tell me, say, hey, I go let me use what my manager have first, or whatever it is, right? But it's clearly that this person, the manager, don't give a shit about him, yada yada, so on and so forth, right? I tell you, every time I had this, then I think to myself, basket. I do sales for like almost 7 years already. I close a lot of people. I do a lot of prospecting. I help a lot of people get results. Wow, still need to get rejected. Hey, you know, that kind of ego, I had that kind of attitude. I was thinking to myself, why should I still, go lower to help someone? That makes sense? And that was one of the most toxic attitude and ego I had. Even when in this business for a couple of months. It was so bad. You know what happened? It was so bad to the point, right? That every time I see application come in, I feel like this person cannot, I straight away reject. I don't even bother. You know what happened? Sales drop. And it's not because when we disqualify someone, by default, the criteria is disqualified based on their attitude, right? And based on obviously how much they earn and so on, so far at stage of business, right? Right now, we only take people that's at least a year in business, above a year. We don't take student advisors, so on and so forth. So, by right, it should be those criteria. But sometimes I see the answers. I say like, what's the biggest challenge? Nothing. Or sometimes put finding more clients. Very like generic, vague shit, right? That gives me, you see, it's like this, I feel like I'm here, and then your application shows me that you're not interested. Fuck you. Reject. That was like the most toxic negative attitude I ever had. So what's my point of this story? Very simple. At all levels of the game, the ego, our pride, will always be the key thing that we need to take care of. This right this now. Whether you are a young advisor, whether you are more senior, whether you are successful, not successful, you need to take care of your ego. Every time you have this kind of feeling, it's not going to help you, it's not going to serve you. And if it's not going to serve you, it means that it stops you from serving other people. Make sense? And ego, if you want to understand ego a little bit more, it's basically thinking about, it's basically the word I, right? It's about yourself. Wait, I am like that. You want to talk to me like that? I am blah blah blah, I am blah blah, I am blah blah blah. What are we here for? Make money, correct? To make money, you need to provide value, correct? Which also means we are here to serve. I'm here to serve. I might make money, but I'm still here to serve. I'm still here to learn. Sometimes I talk to Derek, sometimes I talk to Tia, I'm learning stuff. I talk to some of our directors and coaches, I'm still learning from them. I'm here to serve. Whatever I can. I was telling Van, I said, if you need us, let us know if you can help. Like, with drinks or whatever. We're here to serve. Right? So, screw the ego. That makes sense? Okay, this is very, very toxic. Which brings me to the next sub point over here, which is keep ego. Drop ego. Let me put it down more. Drop your ego and do what? But do what? Drop ego, but keep. But keep your dignity. Drop your ego, but keep / maintain your dignity. What do I mean? Now, if you truly want to help someone, we know that it's part of the job. You got to prospect, follow up, so on and so forth. Agree? Now, if the prospect start giving you, it's clearly an asshole, right? Start telling you all the bullshit, right? Or like, I don't know if you guys have been through this before, but there are some female advisors, when they go on LinkedIn, cold calls and everything else, they meet some strangers, they say go to their freaking house. It happened before. And then it's like, they try to like, in Chinese what, 猥琐, that kind of feels, yeah. Drop the ego but keep dignity. What do you think you should do in the case? Get the fuck out. Keep your pride. If a prospect, very, very rich, might want to do business with you, but talk to you like that, hey, Van, so when you're giving me the shit, you say you're going to give me, what the fuck? Hey, you don't have business, you tell me. Sure, we drop ego, right? But do you want to be treated like that? And maybe you earn half a meal from this case, but do you want to be treated like that? If your answer is no, keep your dignity and move on. I wouldn't. Because understand this, money can always be earned, right? Again and again and again. We lose it, we earn it, we spend it, we earn it. But when you sacrifice a part of yourself, that's permanent. You'll always be in you. Does that make sense? It'll always be new. That day you cheated, that day you whatever, it'll always be new. That day, you will definitely remember it. You know that you're the kind of person who did certain things before. Hard to change. And when that happens, hard to also let go. Agree? So, I know everybody here, for the more senior ones, remember to drop ego, right? Keep your dignity, do as a professional. If you feel like this prospect or client not a good fit, professionally tell them so, right? For some of the younger ones, drop your ego, okay? Fear of judgment, not going to earn you money. Since when does fear equal money? Don't have, right or not? Drop your ego. But also, meaning to say for the younger ones, don't be a dog. Don't be a dog. Don't be the order taker. You know order taker? Don't be an order taker. When people say, hey, do this for me. Hey, Elijah, you want to fetch me to this place or not? If it's not related, or if you don't want to do it because you're busy or whatever it is, or some people, they ask you to do certain things because they kind of know that, hey, you earn my money, you know, you should do certain things for me, that kind of stuff. If you don't feel like doing it, tell them. Make a stance.